Welcome back. We are back to Real Amigos. It has been a long, long time. And of course, Ian's frozen on the other side now.
I'm not frozen.
And
I'm moving.
man, I just can't. Dude, I'm having to go sunglasses now on these things because this light's killing my eyes. Let's see which ones are better. That's a little better. Welcome back to Real Amigos. We are your hosts, Jeremy Knight, your favorite Austin realtor, Ian of Austin, your favorite Austin realtor as well. Look, it's been a while since we've been on here. Sorry for coming in at 2 o'clock. I know we used to do 7 o'clock. The challenge that we're running into is the market is absolutely crazy busy. We are both super busy. We're very busy. So let me break down because somebody got kind of upset with me in the comments. I was very short with somebody in the comments the other day. Let me explain what's going on. Okay. Right now, the market is all over the place. It's super busy. It's not busy. There's a lot going on. We're going to go about the market. I myself put on these videos. I spend with my video guy 3 to 4 hours a week shooting content that goes on Instagram, YouTube. We do these videos. We do the long form videos. Ian and I are very active at our brokerage, helping agents navigate this crazy market. We're going to talk about what's happening in the market for realtors. So we're very active in what we do, helping our agents. So that takes up time. Plus, I have a lot of you, thank you, and Ian also, let's say thank you, have reached out and wanted our help. So 7 o'clock at night has been very challenging to do live streams, especially when Ian and I both travel. So welcome back to Real Amigos. Ian, good to see you, my friend.
Dude, I'm here. You can see me, right? I might still be on dial-up. I'm here, right?
You're on glitchy dial-up, but you're here.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody and echo everything that you said. Jeremy and I have been running around with a lot of different realtors from across the country, teaching, absorbing, spending time, learning as much as we can so that we can always continuously bring value to our clients and our viewers for this show. It's been very, very good. And this year, it's interesting as you hear a lot of, I'm going to say, negative Nancy talk about the market. And right now, Jeremy, like you said, I know you have a ton of listings. I have a lot of listings. I've got buyers. What's going on? We need to talk about these numbers, man.
Yeah. I mean, I have a video coming out Tuesday, which is my market update video. And I just shot that yesterday. So I don't want to go too much into the granular of what we'll go through on Tuesday's video. Make sure you're watching. If you didn't watch my video yesterday, please go watch it. Aaron, Dennis, or go watch my video yesterday. I got to interview people, and those are my favorite videos to do. And by the way, if you like a specific type of content we're doing, make sure you let me know so we can keep making more of that fun content for you, because I don't make this content for me. I make it for you. Let's talk about the market. I can tell you we have quite a few listings on the market, all priced very, very, very well. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to pull up a slide here in a minute talking about sellers. It is interesting. Our buyer clients, we're going out on properties and we are writing offers well below list price. Even multiple offers that are there are homes they're seeing multiple offers. Even those multiple offers aren't seeing like, what were we seeing? 100 grand over list price. We're seeing like, 15,000 over list price. Back 2 years ago, if you wrote an offer, you were having to also write in the offer that if it didn't make appraisal, you would pay the appraisal difference, right? So if a house was listed at a 500 and you're writing a 600K offer, you were guaranteeing that you'd make up the cash difference on that property. That's not happening. You're not seeing that in offers as much anymore. Thank goodness. So I would say if you are considering buying a home right now, and Ian, you can, feel free to disagree with me. If you are buying a home right now, number one, look at what the rates are doing. Okay. Number two, get with somebody that is going to help you negotiate on those properties and understands what's happening in the market. Because I guarantee you, Eileen just got a client 75 grand off the price and incentives. So there are deals to be had. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so I want to be careful with that because 75K off the price.
That was a new construction, by the way.
Say it again.
That was new construction.
Okay. I was gonna say you gotta make sure that you gotta double check the price, right? Like you gotta compare it to comps, see how long it's been sitting on market. There are a lot of other variables in there, so not everybody, because we don't want people to go in and say, oh, well, I see this house and I can offer 15% less, and I'm just gonna get it. That's not how this works. But with that, I just actually had a price reduction on one of my listings this morning. Sellers are in a position they don't want to wait. And so we're kind of back into a normal flow of how long homes have been sitting on the market. And I think sellers are just getting antsy because they want to be able to make their next move. And so I'm seeing a whole lot of that. And then with the buyer side, I have buyers that are looking for, they're like in a what do you call it? Like their legacy situation. So they've got money, they've got time, they're ready to buy. They know it's a good opportunity for them, and they don't want to do it when there's too much competition if the rates drop. So they're looking, but they're also not rushing. So they're looking at these houses. They can put in a little bit of an offer. They don't get it. It doesn't hurt their heart, right? So that's what I'm experiencing buying. It's pretty interesting.
You know, hopefully somebody can sell you other than 56K so we can actually see you on this.
I have fiber. It is so frustrating. My wife, she's doing something. She's downloading something.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to go see what your wife's downloading.
Nope, don't want to see that. No.
So this article out from Realtor.com, sellers survey homeowners have more realistic market expectations than last year. I don't think that that's necessarily the truth in Austin. It says 52% believe that that they will sell between a year and 2 years. Is that what this is saying? Here's what I was looking for. Okay. So we are seeing that they plan to wait until rates come down to sell. So this is something I've been talking about a while in the Austin market, and why I'm saying, hey, you know, again, everybody's gonna say, oh, you're a realtor, it's always a good time to buy. I know I am. I'm a realtor, bub. There you go. Yet, where do you want to buy? Do you want to buy when rates are high? No. Do you want to buy when prices are low? Yes. Okay. So you can't really have both right now. So what we're seeing is that with these rates now back up to 7.4%, 7.5%, whatever they are, that there's flexibility, and that if rates do really come back down in that mid sixes again, then you are going to see more listings hit the market. So we'll probably have an equilibrium for a while because right now we're at 4 months of inventory. 4 months of inventory, Ian.
Isn't that huge? That is quite the turnaround from what we saw this time last year or even the year prior to that.
And you know, it's funny as people are going to say, oh, realtors. We've been saying the inventory is going to be an issue this year for a while on this channel, have we not?
Yes, we have.
We're the ones that have been pointing out the inventory. So look, there's a lot of inventory. I think the problem still remains is the inventory that's good inventory is going under contract quickly. The stuff that's, you know, decent inventory, priced pretty well, it's still taking a few weeks to sell. And that's unfortunate. I mean, I have a listing right here in Reunion Ranch. The price is $799. It's a beautiful property, 3,000 square foot, 2-story. And when we're getting showings on it, but no offers on it. I got another one in Barton Ranch for at 1.1 million. It's a great property, 4,300 square foot. We're getting showings on it, no offers. And I think what you're going to see, especially days on market, buyers have the ability to be picky right now. They have the ability to be super, super picky. So you can't have negative things in the house that are going to prevent buyers from coming. I know a lot of prevent buyers from coming into the home or writing an offer. What do you think?
You know, there's a couple things that are variables in there. Obviously, jobs, and we're not going to go too deep into that right now, but the shift in some of these jobs is a factor. We've always been talking about people moving back to where they came from. But what I'm seeing, which is really just, I don't know if it's alarming, but at some point, I think some solar companies helicoptered into Austin and started flooding the market and hitting everybody. And so now all of these people that I'm seeing listing their homes, not all, but a lot, I have so many listings right now where people have solar panels attached to it. Some have them paid off, some are willing to pay off, and some are like, can they pay for it or carry over the lease? And that is affecting the prices when we're looking at comps, but people, not everybody's looking at that when they're pricing their homes. So I'm going to give you an example. I've got a home supposed to be listed tomorrow in Carmel. So this is in Pflugerville. So this is for Aaron, right? They're listing it at $420 because they've got solar panels, right? It's one of those tough challenges where, 1 out of 5 houses might have purchased solar panels and now they're in this situation that they have to sell, and it's just throwing off the numbers. It's skewing the numbers. And some people don't see the value in that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I have clients reach out to me all the time. Hey, Jeremy, a solar company came by. They told me that this $25,000 solar thing and over time is going to save me $14 a month. And I have a Tesla and blah, 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 whatever. Okay. And I go, okay, well, is that a pool you're putting in the home? No. Okay. Is it really high-end countertops that really make people go, wow? No. Is it a full bathroom reno? No. So you're spending 25 grand on something people don't even look at or most people even care about. Now, California is probably a big thing, right? But in Texas, people don't care. And I have sellers argue with me every time I go, okay, guys, those solar panels don't add any money. Like, you're going to be out of pocket on these. No. They add money. And then I go show them all the comps of solar panel homes with solar panels and what they actually sold for versus what the homes. And then we go look at the ones that are sitting on the market with solar panels 30 grand higher than the next comp. So moral of the story, don't put on solar panels unless you're going to sell a home 15 years from now or longer, because you're not going to recoup that money.
Well, and I think that's exactly it. People are expecting that they're going to keep these homes for a while. They get hit with the property taxes and they're like, oh crap, I got to save money. And so they're like, well, solar panels will help me save money. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I see another opportunity and I need to sell my house. And so the order of events, the sequence of events is what I see repeating over and over. It's a challenge.
Yeah. What is hail? So Jess from Austin, good to see you. What does hail do to the solar panels? Yeah. I mean, look, when you go do an insurance claim on solar panels, because we get hail damage out here, now you got to pay to replace the solar. Now, though, when they take the solar panels off, right, you have holes in the roof that still need to be patched and repaired. And then they got to put them back right on. So there's a lot of damage from even taking the solar panels off. So you run into so many issues with solar. I can't believe that we went from talking about the market into solar panels, but
it affects the market so much.
I mean,
in some areas.
Yeah. So I have a client. I got to be very careful about what I say next, because I'm going to have so many people reach out to me wanting to do this. So I have a big investor, lots of money. So what he and I are working on is finding commercial properties and properties that have hail damage, that have filed to have hail damage fixed. So we'd come in, write offers below list price on these off-market properties, write offers on these properties, get them below, then get his adjusters to come in and look at it and maybe get that price even lower, and then have his team go and fix those things, rent out these properties, and either rent them out or sell them. So there's opportunity, especially in that market, with properties that have insurance claims or hail damage. So interesting stuff there. Please don't reach out to me to do that. I got one guy. I don't need multiple guys. So please, if you're going to reach out to me for investment properties right now, I'm going to send you to my guy, Jeff. My guy, Jeff, does amazing stuff with. So if you reach out and I go, oh, let me put you with Jeff, don't be offended by me putting you with Jeff. Jeff is the guy. He's my investor guy. So that's what's going to happen if you reach out to me and ask me about investments. Or Ian. So,
well, Jeff's different. He does land development and commercial.
Right. So typically if you said, hey, Jeremy, I want to buy a couple properties, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to put you in touch with Ian that are investment properties. But if you go, hey, I want to buy a property on, 7,200 square foot and I want to move the property to the front and then add in 2 ADUs on it. And then we want to refinance it and use that as cash flow. I'm going to say, go talk to Jeff. So,
yeah. Or JV stuff, or yeah, he does a lot of really intricate things that should get most people into trouble, but somehow he pulls them off. Like, Jeff, how'd you do that?
We just brought on Ian. I just brought on another broker to Real Broker. So I brought an independent broker to Real Broker that buys development deals. So he won't take a commission on the development deal and then just be part of the development deal and then sell the properties later. So I brought in another agent for that too, if you want me to put you in touch.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, let's talk about the market some more. So buyers, what are you seeing with your buyers right now? I mean, Aaron, I think, was just a buyer with you. What are you seeing with most of your buyers when they're looking at the market right now, or what are their objections to the market? And if you're a buyer right now, or if you're considering buying a home, drop a comment below. We want to hear from you in the comment section. I want to talk to you. What's your objection for the market right now? What are you facing? I know I'm looking for investment properties right now, and there's deals to be had, but at 7.5%, is it a deal? Can I refinance? The one thing that I found, Ian, and tell me if you've partnered up with these people, but what we're finding is what we'll do is we'll partner buyers with lenders that have a built-in refi program, right? So if you buy with this specific lender up to, I think it's usually like 18 months, maybe a little bit more. If rates drop, you can refi for free. Have you put people with that, or is that something you've talked about with buyers?
So yes, I have talked about it. It's one of those things where it's a really good option, but I don't know that that's going to get everyone the numbers that they're looking for.
Right now
is the way I'll say it. Yeah. And so I do have a lot of, I think the buyers that are serious understand that we're in a situation where the interest rates have not moved. If they need to make a decision, it makes more sense. And this is not everybody, but this is most buyers. It makes more sense to make a decision now before we get into, let's say, the end of the summer. Right. And I know that's a wide range of time, but that's absolutely the conversation. And from both ends, it's a mutual understanding that makes sense. And it's only because, or mostly because, we know that the competition will increase if the interest rate drops. So that's what we're trying to avoid. And, nobody wants to deal with it during the school time either. So that's when there's a lot more, we have school and what is it? The politics and the election. Gosh, I don't know why I couldn't go. Yeah,
and the election. The politics.
Like, it's such a cluster. It was such a cluster for such a long time. I think people are starting to just ignore it and say, "Listen, we got to do what we got to do."
Curiosity is killing the cat here. If you want to put in the comment section, if you voted for one party in the 2020 election and now you're considering a different party, maybe throw that in the comment. We may, I don't want to get too political on this channel. I try not to, but I'm just curious if people are switching their minds. But here is,
hold on, throw a 3 in the chat if you want a complete reset. Just get rid of everything. No option is a good option. Drop a 3.
Yeah. Mortgage applications increased 3.3% last week. So we're going to see more people in the buyer pool. Not a lot more, but increasing 3.3% is definitely helpful. But that doesn't really help when you look at mortgage rates.
So here's my question, Jeremy, and I have not looked at this. What moves the needle in Austin? So 3%, I don't know that it moved the needle. I did pick up a couple of buyers, but that I don't know that it really moved the needle. What percentage do you think moves the needle? 10%?
As far as buyers coming back into the pool?
Yeah, when you see the mortgage rates increase.
I think they need to get below 6.5%. I think they really need to get below 6%. So think about it this way. Back in December, rates dropped. Look, I have it right here in front of me. So back in December, we saw rates drop down to 6.65. Okay. Over the last 3 months, what have we seen happen from those rates dropping at 6.65. I can tell you, I have the chart right here. We saw people dive back into the market.
Yep.
Well, month over month, prices have gone up in the Austin area. We're flat year over year right now for the Austin MSA, but for 3 months straight, we saw prices go up really when they should have stayed more flat this year. Now, rates have now increased, as you can see, back to 7.46. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a little stagnation back in the market. So we need the Fed to telegraph that they are going to reduce rates. And then you'll see, if they telegraph that we're going to see rates drop, you'll see this mortgage rate drop, which will, in essence, push people back into the market. I think there is a lot of built up demand. The challenge is, where is that built up demand, right? For every 1% interest rates go down, you see, was it 5 million more people available to purchase? So imagine if we go from 7.46 down to 5.46 in a matter of 7 months. That's 10 million people that are available to jump back in the market.
Right. And I don't know what percentage of that is in Austin looking, right? But you also have to consider half of these listings are also people buying, right? And to go somewhere else or to go within Austin. So you gotta pay close attention to that too. So it's always interesting to see that. I've got a lot of people that, let's say, selling here, moving to San Antonio, selling here, going back to California. So what, just because we're not seeing the buyers, we're seeing it as a result of the listings that are coming on.
Right. So, I mean, we saw December of last year, prices was 2023 to the red. We went from 511 in December. We saw a month over month decline. December rates dropped. And so what happened? We went from 511 to 534. It's a pretty big jump, to 543 to 564. Now, if we look at the MSA, which is the larger area, now the larger area was pulled down a little bit by all the new construction, and there's more. I mean, there's a fair hefty amount of inventory already out there. We saw a month over month still increase. We went from 443 to 450. Oh, sorry, 443. We went down in January, right, month over month, and then we saw back up to 443 and back up to 450. So now we're flat with 2023. Now, we could see, if we don't really see many increases in the MSA, we could see negative numbers. Look, in January, we could see probably negative numbers in July. In fact, we could probably see negative numbers April. We could probably see negative numbers all the way through until November. Let's just say we stayed at 450. We're going to see negative numbers in the MSA until October. So what's going to happen? You're going to see reventure. Don't buy. Oh, it's the worst time. Prices are down. It's so guy's freaking moron, right? Right. Okay. Look, yes, you are buying if at 450, if we're looking at the market, let's say 450 goes straight across till May. Okay. You are buying $100,000 less than the peak of the market back in 2022. I'd say that's a pretty big win if you're buying now, right? Or I wouldn't say, I'm not saying you have to buy now, but I'm just saying if you are in the market to buy, that's a win.
The issue is so many people are so surface level, they're not looking at that as a win. They're looking at it as, well, if it's listed at this price, then I only want to pay this price. I want a reduction on the price that's listed, not on the value that you're getting of the home or how much you're paying based. Yeah.
So Dinosaur D.
That's funny.
Everybody raise your hand if you've heard this joke before. The housing market is decreasing, yet my tax valuation went up again on all of my properties, every single property. Anybody else hear that joke? Yeah, it's a terrible one, of course. Yeah, I just got my tax valuations, and a property that I could not sell for $425 at most went up again. So they have it at $557. Like, are you absolutely kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. As they sink, property taxes are deterring me from a new purchase. Yeah.
I will say that to Dinosaur D's point, that would be a much better than the current POTUS standing on stage saying that realtor commissions will pay for the pay for everybody to get into new homes.
Yeah.
We'll cover the cost and make it more affordable.
Yeah, that's talk about trying to buy votes, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, here we go. Let's go tell everybody that we're going to get rid of realtor commissions in order to make them vote for us. Okay, that's not going to work, dude. Number two, that's actually not what happened. It's not even close to what happened. In fact, nothing has happened at the moment.
Right.
So let's see. We'll talk about that in a second. Actually, buying within the next 6 months would be great. My prediction is Trump wins, interest rates drop. Within the next 2 years, base prices will go up from there. Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of things about Texas turning blue this year, so you never know what's going to happen.
We've heard a lot about the interest rates dropping. I don't think that's any secret. It's how fast, how rapidly does it drop?
I mean, we also heard that they were going to be 5 rate drops this year, and the Fed was going to start dropping middle way of the year. And now
we're not middle of the way through the year, and there could still be a bunch of rate drops. But if the increments are petty, then it doesn't matter.
I don't know if you're following the CPI, my guy. And what the Fed is actually saying. Why do you think that interest rates have gone up? Interest rates have gone up because the Fed's telegraphing that they're not going to drop rates, that the CPI is overheated, that we have too much money still in the market, so they don't. So no, rates aren't going down. If you're watching this and some realtor in a white shirt that says "Need a Realtor" tells you that rates are going to be below 5% by the end of the year, they don't know what they're talking about. I don't know of anybody that's said that on this channel, but if you have realtors telling you the rates are going to be at 5% by the end of the year, man, I'd love to see the crystal ball that they're licking.
Nobody should be saying what the rates are by the end of the year because nobody knows.
Right. But I've seen realtors post rates are coming down. I'm like, what?
And actually to go back to that point, a lot of times we'll guess, we'll talk about it. We'll say, based on this is what we know. But obviously everyone here is intelligent enough to know that we are working with the information that we have available. We do not know that the rates will decrease, just to get that legalese out there.
Well, I did say that the year would end last year below 8%. I said around 7. What did I say? 6 or 7%. And we ended December. Let's see. I'm looking at it. We ended January 2nd. We were at 6.39%. So I remember a very big podcaster called Patrick Bet David said we were going to be at 10%. Have not seen that yet, but yeah. All right, let's talk about the real estate commissions then, because what's interesting is I got a little article right here. Let's see. Why is it not full screen? How do I do full screen? There we go. Okay. So Fannie Mae, so this has been one of the things with the realtor commissions. So obviously you saw that the realtor, that there was a settlement. We'll go into that in a second. But here's what Fannie Mae just put out. It says, we are aware of the proposed settlement agreement subject to court approval announced by the National Association of Realtors and the Burnett et al. Whatever. While there are no immediate changes to our selling guide policies, we are clarifying the current treatment of seller-paid real estate agent fees under the interest party contributions policies. Selling guide introduced interested party concessions, IPCS, permits interested parties, including property sellers, to make contributions to the borrower closing costs subject to a minimum limit ranging between 2 to 9% of the property value. Typical fees and other closing costs paid by the seller in accordance with the local custom known as common and customary fees or costs are not subject to the IPCS limit described in selling guide. Types of interested party contributions. If a seller or seller's real estate agent continues to pay the buyer's real estate agent commission in concordance with the local common and customary practices, these amounts are not required to be counted towards the IPCS limits for the transaction. So that just basically what they're saying is before you couldn't roll in real estate agent commissions into things. Now you can. They're a separate byline is what Fannie Mae is saying. As part of our standard risk management practices, we continuously review and evaluate our selling guide policies. We will continue to monitor the various. Okay. Anyway, So here's what happened. There was a lawsuit. Obviously, we all saw the lawsuit come out saying that real estate agents were practicing in, oh, what's the term? Antitrust. Okay. So here's how the antitrust came about. So in a normal transaction, it's funny how we always want to blow up what works, right? That are the whole motto of the world right now is if something works, it's because of the patriarchy. So we need to get rid of it. It's terrible. So here's why real estate commissions were typically paid by the seller. So typically, if you're a buyer and you are engaging with a real estate agent, you have the right to representation, right? There's a fee associated with using a real estate agent. There's a fee associated with using, I don't know, a lawyer. There's a fee associated with using a good CPA. You have fees associated with whatever. Now, the whole 6% thing was never a standard. There was nothing in print by NAR or anyone that 6% was a standard. What they said, though, was that the buyer wasn't able to negotiate. Well, number one, you don't have to use a real estate agent, but our job is to be trained in negotiation, know how to manage a contract, and get you from A to Z without getting sued. That is number one. And make sure you're getting a good property. That is the long and short of what we do. The problem in the industry is we don't have agents to understand what exactly they do because there is such a low barrier to get in the industry that you would have these agents who just can't articulate their value. Okay. And that has been a problem in our industry. I watch agents that post these videos and I'm going, what the hell are you even talking about? Right. There are really good agents and there are okay agents, and then there are bad agents, but they're also really good lawyers, mediocre lawyers, and not good lawyers. There's also very good dentists, not good dentists, right? In every field you go into, right? So there's always that. What happened is that typically to make it easier on the buyer and to relieve friction from the buyer having to come up and pay the buyer agent, the listing agent would say, hey, look, in order for us to market this property and get a buyer represented by an agent, we are going to, let's say my fee is 6%. I'm going to offer 3% in the MLS to the other side. Because look, if we negotiate and put in 2.5%, maybe we won't get as many eyes on it. If we offer 1%, 2%, whatever it is, maybe we won't get as many eyes on it. Well, guess what? Builders offer all the time 4, 5, 6% to realtors because they understand that realtors are very important, even with builders. Okay. So the agent would then sign a listing agreement and say, we are going to give the buyer agent fees, this fee. Now that buyer, and here's where the industry has gone wrong. We always say as buyer's agents, and I say we because I have said it too, so I'm not without blame here. Okay. Every agent has said this. Look, you don't pay my fee. The seller pays my fee. That has been the big problem because what happens is, and I'm going to say why that is wrong. The seller would pay the listing agent. The listing agent then unilaterally would pay the buyer agent. That is where they said the price fixing came in, is that unilateral. So now with what has happened with the Fitzer Burnett thing, the seller the seller will pay the listing agent. If this all works out, how it works out, will pay the listing agent their fee. The seller then can pay the buyer agent fee, and the buyer then pay the buyer agent. Or the seller can then pay the listing agent and then pay the buyer agent. It is no longer the listing agent paying the buying agent. Here's where the phrase, you don't have to pay for me, the seller pays for me, is wrong. The fees come out of the seller's proceeds. Okay. They are still paid by the buyer. The buyer is the one that writes the $1 million check. The $1 million check then goes to the seller, and then the seller decides, has pre-written an agreement to pay the buyer. Okay. Or the buyer agent. So what they're saying now is that buyers are going to, here's where people are going to get hurt the most. And this is the big problem with what happened here. Do I agree or disagree with it? I have no opinion. I think that buyers are going to be hurt by this because here's what's going to happen. In Texas, we do not have dual agency, which means that if I represent the seller, you can come to me and I can represent the seller and represent you at the same time. There is no dual agency. Okay. I can only represent one client, which is either you or the seller. I cannot represent both. Same thing with Ian, everybody. Now, here's what's going to happen is buyers are going to come to the listing agent and they're going to go, hey, I don't want to pay a buyer agent fee. So will you write up the contract for me? Sure. I'll write up a contract for you. I write up a contract for you. We go under contract. You think you're represented by me. I am not representing you. I represent this fiduciary duty of my seller. Whatever my seller says, I give them, here's the pros and cons of everything you just said. Here's what we want to do. Here's my advice. What do you want to do? And then we go forward with that. Well, what happens at the end of the day, the buyer now feels that they were slighted by some reason, and then they sue me and they sue you, the seller. And they sue my broker, and they sue the title company, and they sue everybody else because they were slighted. So number one, you're going to see a lot more lawsuits because you're going to see buyers think that they can go directly to the listing agent and that they're going to get a better deal. The reality is I've had buyer after buyer reach out to me on my own listings, and I tell them, look, I represent the seller. You're not going to get a 3% discount. The commission is paid to me. It's 6%. If you don't have an agent, I make 6%. How amazing is that? Now, my seller might reduce the value and I can go back and negotiate with the fees of my seller, but that's how that works. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of discount agents who go, look, I'm just going to write up a contract for you. Send me $1,000. And that already happens now. I'll write up the offer for you. You have zero representation. You have nobody really helping you. You'll have a lot of discount brokers do that. The problem with discount brokers is you get discount service. You have the right to representation, hire the right representation. You hire a good lawyer, you get good results. You hire a mediocre lawyer, you get mediocre results. You hire a bad lawyer, you get bad results. Okay. It's going to be the same thing. So you're going to see people that can afford really good agents go pay for really good agents. You're going to see people who cannot afford agents go pay for not so good agents. So you're going to see a lot more lawsuits. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Buyers are going to be hurt by this the most, because if I go to Ian and I go, hey, Ian, in my offer, I'm going to discount my fee. Will you pay me, instead of paying me 3%, pay me? And during the pandemic, we had this happen a lot. I had a lot during the pandemic. I would have agents come to me and they'd go, hey, look, instead of writing $100,000 over, I'm going to discount my commission. So only pay me 1% or 1.5%, 2%, because look, commissions have never been 6%. That's just a fallacy. So, and they use it as a negotiation tool. So you may see that in the future as a negotiation tool, or you may see buyers who can afford an agent not buy. Who cannot buy. They can't afford an agent and they don't know how to actually negotiate agent fees into things. So I think there's a lot of positives because you'll have buyers able to negotiate with those agents. But again, you're hiring a professional negotiator. Think about that. If you think that you can handle a transaction on your own, awesome. There's a really good lawyer who I followed the other day who is a real estate attorney, and she broke this down and she goes, look, I'm a real estate attorney and I still use realtors to buy all my stuff. Why? I don't have a full-time job. I don't want the full-time job of managing a transaction. And the problem is that the agents make everything easier on us so we can go do the deals. I don't want to manage everything. When you manage everything, it's a huge hassle. The agents actually do manage everything for you throughout the process. I hire a transaction coordinator. I hire an assistant. I hire a marketing team. I hire all of these things out so we have a smooth transaction. Okay. You are going to be the one doing that if you're the buyer trying not to do it on your own. So are commissions going to come down? Maybe. Commissions may go up. Are we going to see realtors leave the business? Maybe. What does that mean? People like me and Ian who do this at a high level, we're going to get more business. That's what's going to happen. So drop your comments. I'd love to answer any questions. That's going to be my long and short. Ian, anything I missed?
Covered a lot, man. Aaron actually has a question that falls into something you haven't yet covered, and it refers to the steering. I'm using the term, but how agents perceive what they're going to be paid and how they will show properties as a result. And I understand that obviously agents should have a fiduciary responsibility. Realtors have a fiduciary responsibility to their clients to make sure that they take them to see the homes. But do you work when you're not getting paid? Is the other side of the coin. So there's a lot in there.
Aaron, I thank you for writing this question. Guess who gets to do the steering now? Okay. If you were afraid that realtors were doing the steering, okay, which, look, here's how it would work. If you sent me, when I sign a buyer representation agreement with you, so here's the other thing that the lawsuit says. In order to show a home, you have to sign a buyer representation agreement. So those people that contact Zillow or Redfin, you have to upfront then write in, this is, if this things changes, you have to upfront, here are my fees, here's everything fully disclosed.
Yeah.
Okay. So you, instead of running out to go see a property, now you're gonna have to sign a buyer representation agreement first.
Yes.
Okay. That is one change that will be on there. So steering, this is really good. So what would happen if you were a client of mine and we sign a buyer representation agreement, which happens every time, is if when you call me and say, Jeremy, we're looking at buying a home, I say, great, let's sit down with my team and we're going to go through the buying process, what you're looking for, and what we can provide for you. At the end of that call, we send you a buyer representation agreement before we do anything else. Here's a buyer representation agreement where you're 3%. And then if there's something else in there, we'll negotiate. We talk about how we actually do that if it's less than 3% advertised. Okay. This is what we do. So what happens then is I go, here are the 9 properties we're going to look at. Okay. 2 of these are actually showing a lower commission amount. If this does go into contract, we may have to negotiate where you pay the extra 1%. So we've allowed the buyer to say yes or no on that if they want to see that property. So guess what's going to happen now? They are taking away the visibility. So in order to have clarity, they have made us all blind. That is exactly what happened. This is exactly what happened. Now I have to call each agent and go, hey, by the way, are you offering a buyer agent commission? And they're all going to go yes or no. And then when I go to show those properties, I'm going to say, look, all of these homes right here are now showing no commission, no commission, no commission. You're going to have to pay 3% for each if you negotiate on each one of these. Now the buyer is going to say, nope, I don't want to go see those homes. So now the buyer will be doing the steering. The other steering could be too on the seller side, because we cannot as agents discriminate for any reason. You may see discrimination from sellers, or you may see discrimination from buyers. And there might be lawsuits for that. So the problem I see with the big overall arching problem I see with this is more lawsuits. That's what I see. But you tell me, am I wrong? And by the way, shout out to you, Aaron, for it. Sorry if I sound heated or excited about this. It's very frustrating to spend hours of your life putting together a YouTube channel, spending years of your life putting together a YouTube channel, years of your life helping clients. And every time I sit down with a conversation, I have to retell people why they need to hire me or not hire me, right? Because I'm not a fit for everybody. Ian's not a fit for everybody, right? I have told over the years, multiple people, hey, look, you're a better fit working with this person. I have a fiduciary duty. Ian has a fiduciary duty when we sign a deal with you. So we want to make sure that your needs are met, right? But then to be told by the president of the United States that I should be dropping my fees and that I was overpaid the entire time, when it's my entire life to make sure that you get exactly what Aaron just said right here. Aaron says, also, Ian has literally made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do you think I'm going to let you guys screw the guy who made me over 6 figures in profits? Kudos to you, Ian, for helping Aaron. Kudos to you for making sure you put your client in the right position, because all along this entire time, your representation does matter. So I'm off my soapbox. Thank you, everyone.
It's a good soapbox. It's the thing that it's fun to hear you go deeper than a lot of the surface level conversations that are out there about this, because I know you experienced this. I experienced this. You have so many people that call you right away, that called us as they see the news, as they see the headlines come out. They don't really understand it. And they just say, so what does this mean? Does that mean, are you going to stay a realtor? You know, is it time for us to buy? Is it time for us to do something? But they don't really, I say they, it's such a blanket statement. There are a lot of people that don't really care as long as they see that there's an opportunity that they can make money. It has nothing to do with the fiduciary responsibility. It has nothing to do with the relationship. But then what'll happen, and this is to your point, is that the people that don't dig deeper and they don't care and they go about it haphazardly will end up in more lawsuits. And that is a little worrisome for me. But like you also said, we'll have a lot of people that are dropping out of the market, a lot of investors that are dropping out of the market or trying to find other types of ways to make solid real estate investments. So I know a lot of people that were in residential and are moving to commercial for reasons like this. They just don't want to deal with it. It's not all, but it's kind of political at this point, right? This was kind of a silly lawsuit, and we know that. So it'll be interesting to see how it's out.
So think about how this lawsuit really started. It started with a seller who didn't understand or had an agent that didn't fully explain how commissions work. And they said that they needed to pay. It could have been a brand new agent that said, no, you need to pay this, without explaining how that works. Now, so I had a seller legitimately the other day goes, tell me how the NAR lawsuit works. And I explained it just like that. You, me, them. If we mark it without, do you think we're going to get a buyer that's going to come look at the home? And they said, no. And I go, well, how much do you want to offer the buyer agent then? Because I'm this. They go, well, I want to offer them whatever this is. Okay, awesome. Well, that's what we're going to go with. So if agents had explained that from the beginning and gotten better about that conversation from the beginning, maybe we're not having this conversation. But think about this. The same buyer that bought a home and lived in a home that most likely had their buyer agent paid for in that transaction out of the seller's proceeds, then listed their house and said, but I don't want to pay for a buyer agent. No, I don't want to pay the commission. After you already had the benefit of getting that, now you want to cause a lawsuit to up in the industry. And let's be honest, this was never started necessarily by just one people. This became a class action lawsuit. The DOJ has been involved in this the entire time. Okay. The DOJ has been part of this the entire time. Even the DOJ just came out and said that they may reopen this case. Why do they want to say that? Why do you think NAR moved to settle so quickly? It's because the DOJ was telegraphing they were going to get involved. If I am NAR and the DOJ just says, and by the way, NAR is weak. You are the weakest people. You have no idea what we do as a real estate agents. You do not represent us well. You are awful. You're too busy touching each other. That is ridiculous. Touching each other at the highest levels. My apologies. Not all of you are doing that, but you have not represented us. So you have NAR who gets weak in the knees and just goes ahead and says, yeah, we'll settle this because the DOJ is putting pressure on us. And now the DOJ is coming back out saying, hey, look, no, we're going to reopen this. If I'm NAR, I'm pulling back. I'm like, you know what? We're going to renege. Let's keep going. But that's not me. Flo Rida 55 says, thoughts on how it could affect FSBOs. Could there be sellers who just offer 2 to 3% total commission for whatever buyer, whoever brings a buyer? I don't know that has changed at all. I mean, for sale by owners, for sale by owners are the same people that don't want to pay a commission agent anyway. And look, okay, you don't have to. The challenge is that you don't really get representation. You end up representing yourself. Okay, good for you. I can tell you throughout my years, I have walked into so many for sale by owners with a buyer. They don't know what they're doing. They are all over the place. They don't know how to work a contract. And I turn to my buyer and I say, hey, look, you saw what I saw, right? Are you sure that this is the right move for you? Regardless of commissions, is this the right move for you? Do you think that there might be some holes in this transaction? Do you think we might run into issues? You tell me how you're feeling. And they go, yeah, we're not doing this. I know Eileen did work with one for sale by owner recently, within the last 2 years, and it was a show from beginning to end. It was the worst transaction of her life. It was tough. The seller wasn't even moved out at closing. So we had to keep delaying closing, but then they wanted money, but they had as a contract that they had to have their stuff out of the home. They wouldn't move out. Why are you going to close a house? And then they threatened to take all the money, which they couldn't do. They didn't know what they were doing. So yeah, for sale by owners, they're going to still be around. I don't think for sale by owners are going anywhere. Ian, sorry, man, I'm talking too much.
It's good. That's fun stuff. I say fun. It's not fun. It's not fun to be in a situation where you are buying something major or selling something major and you feel like everyone's working against you. And this goes to the people that are doing it, the buyers and the sellers. It goes to the real estate agents. It goes to the brokerages that are trying to build this up. It goes to the investors that are trying to, build a legacy for their families, all of it. It feels like lawsuits and scenarios like this are just going against the grain for everyone's benefit, against everyone's benefit. It's really quite delusional. It has us quite delusional, especially the Redfin listings. Let's talk about the Redfin listings.
Look,
Samuel said something up above about Redfin CEO. I think he said Redfin's business has been increasing after the lawsuit brought more attention to the commission structures. First off,
no, I think that's an overreach by what he's saying. Look,
yes,
Redfin saw an uptick because it's a time of the market that we're seeing upticks and interest rates have dropped. Okay. I don't think Redfin is going to have to do everything the same. They're going to have to meet buyers and sign buyer reps every time. So
Redfin dropped. Isn't that one of the companies that dropped out of the National Association of Realtors?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So I believe they're one of those companies. There are a handful of larger conglomerates that pulled out of the National Association of Realtors. So they no longer have to abide by the fiduciary responsibility. That's a really, really, really important note.
Yeah. What do I think about Redfin listings? I mean, you don't know it, but they still offer 3% in the MLS to buyer agents. So if you're signing a listing agreement, yeah, you might pay less, but you also, what benefits you're primarily getting what did they list on their site? Okay. Is that an actual benefit for you? Ian, let me show you something, everybody. Is your Redfin agent going to do this? Are they going to spend thousands of dollars on putting video content behind your listings?
Well,
are they going to spend? They're just going to put it on their website, right? And you're just another one of millions on their website. Okay. Interesting. Let me show you something here. I'm trying to find this. Are they going to go spend money doing this? Are they going to spend money coming out to your home, creating a video talking about how impressive your house is and why people should buy your house? Are they going to go talk to agents around the area and try to sell your listing to other agents? No. Are they? I mean, you tell me. I don't know what their model is. So you get what you pay for. Can you hear the audio on this, Ian?
I can't.
Okay, good. I can hear it. It's driving me nuts. I drive myself nuts, man. So yeah, I mean, you do you, boo. You could still, you've never been. I mean, here's the thing with the real estate commissions, like you could have always hired Redfin. Nothing's changed. Do you guys think Biden admin will push Gen AI to take over realtors' business as a result? I mean, they're probably going to, I'm sure.
That's been an attempt for many years. Obviously, the AI, there's an improvement in the functionality of it, the logistical functionality of it. I would say I really like Aaron's comment right above the one you have highlighted. At the end of the day, real estate is a business that will almost always be done belly to belly. And so, Jeremy, I guess I'd ask you this question. How many deals have you done? And just like a, rough percentage, I know it's an estimation, but how many deals have you done where because of who you know or how you conveyed the information, you ended up getting that transaction closed, right? Because you knew a guy who knew a guy, or you had a conversation with somebody who said, oh, you know what? I think I know someone. For me, that was it's a surprisingly large percentage, I would say. Let's say 15%. That doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it's pretty good.
You do realize that there's an entire website. People don't realize this. So let's say you came to me and said, Jeremy, we're looking for a luxury property. We're looking between $3 and $5 million. And, we want to be near the lake and we want all of these things in the house. I'd go, awesome. But they're going to go, I don't see anything on the MLS.
Right.
Okay. So let me tell you a little story. So there's a whole website dedicated to off-market properties for real estate agents called the Austin Luxury Network. Okay. So I go to the Austin Luxury Network and I go, all right, there's 4 off-market properties that meet their needs. Hey guys, here's 4 off-market properties. You go, all right, let's go tour those 4 properties. You don't like any of those properties. Now I go to all those luxury agents. I go, look, I've toured these 4 properties. My clients are looking for this specifically. Who has something in here? And if somebody raises their hand, yeah, you know what? I have something off market. You do. Awesome. We go in there, we take a look at it and we go, you know what? You're listed at 3.5 million. This house really is 3.1. We're going to give you an offer for 3.1 million. And they go, you know what? We don't have to deal with this hitting the MLS. We don't have to deal with the tax records knowing that this sold on market. So we'll go ahead and do that deal. So you get a property off market for $3.1 million. I just saved you $400,000. Had it been on the MLS, maybe it would have sold for more. We don't know, right? I saw a video today of an agent who had a client that was, we're talking about why you would need a buyer's agent, right? Let's say you had you were looking in a specific neighborhood, right? You wanted to be in, I almost said my neighborhood. You want to be in Dripping Springs, in a specific neighborhood in Dripping Springs. I'm going to spend my money as your buyer agent and send emails to everybody I can pull emails for. Number 2, I'm going to send mailers to everybody in the neighborhood. Say, hey, I have a client that's looking specifically for this. Who has something? And put together a deal off market. But you don't want to pay me for that. You don't want me to pay the $500 to $1,000 to do that legwork that you would have had to do on your own to find that off-market property and put together a deal. But you don't want to pay for that. Okay. Okay. If commissions are negotiable, then why would a buyer have to pay the difference on an offered commission? Because if I tell you my fee is 3% to work with me and the buyer and the seller pays 1.5%, you're paying the other 1.5%. It's that simple.
It's an agreement up front, right? That's what the buyer agency representation agreement is for, because the broker of record will still end up collecting that fee at the end.
Yeah. Right. And it could be 5%. I could negotiate up front with my buyers that, hey, to buy a home with me is going to be 5%. If the other side's offering 3%, you still got to pay me 2%. I could do that. What do you think think about these big luxury agents that are representing people on TV? Do you think that they're taking 3% on every deal? Or do you think they're getting more sometimes? I bet you they're getting more. I bet you they're also getting less too. So
there's going to be a lot more scrutiny on things like if you have a buyer agency representation agreement with somebody and then they go and buy a house with someone else because they offered them a better deal, that, in my opinion, is where a lot of these lawsuits are going to come into play. It's going to be quite interesting because, you know, we have this thing called procuring cause. And if we can show that we're the procuring cause for this transaction to go through, but, you know, a friend of a friend says they'll write a transaction for you and give you some of their commission back. Well, that's why we have the agreements in the first place. And that will put people in a lot more now that this lawsuit is coming to a head. This has happened. It's going to be interesting to see.
Griffin, great comment here. Let me pull this off. Remove, boom. Great comment here. That has nothing to do with the real estate agents. That has to do with San Antonio thinking that they can charge more for properties, right? So first time home buyer in 2023 here, San Antonio, just got our 2024 appraisal and it jumped 38%. No changes to our house since the purchase. Comps in our neighborhood remain relatively static or decreased. So right now, what I want you to do is go find different websites. On my website, I had a thing about how to protest your valuations. It's probably still there. You're going to protest your valuation because this is what the city does. This has had nothing to do. I mean, I didn't say you said this was anything to do with your realtor. So, but the cost jumping up 38% has to do with the city trying to get more taxes. So, let's see, friends who bought in 2020 have a similar situation. Do y'all think TCAD is targeting new homeowners because of the gap in homestead caps? Yes, I do. 100% do. Yes. Oh, South Austin. So Griffin, if you missed this earlier, I have an investment property in South Austin, and it's last year they valued it like 580. We got it down to 525, but still I could not sell that property for 425 if I needed to, like if I had to. This year they said it went up again, and there's no way. All the valuations actually have dropped. I can show you all the valuations have dropped. So I would get with the agent that helped you purchase the home. I would get with them and then go get whatever comps you can and find out. There's tons of different companies to do the tax protest. 5 Stone Tax. What else is there? 5 Stone Tax, Ownwell, Texas Pro Tax. There's a lot of different companies that can help you if you don't want to spend the time doing it yourself. I'm actually selling my investment home in case Gen I affects the tech industry here within the next few years. Oh, okay. Interesting. And the response to that is, okay, you realize the underlying algorithms being used were made in 1994. That's funny. And you ever tried Icon Virtuous for building a home through AI? I don't even know what that is. Is it Icon Builders? I don't even know what that is. Anyone tried Icon? Do you know what that is, Ian?
Oh, I'm on the site right now. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the same technology that Lennar was using to build their homes. You know, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I know one of the people that works for that company. They kind of keep it wraps. They've got some interesting things to say about those builds. Which is
about the Icon builds.
Yeah,
the concrete homes.
You know, I was always worried about that, thinking, okay, so Texas, what was the phrase back when we got started in real estate? In Texas, you'll either have foundation problems or you had foundation problems, something like that. Yeah. And so now you're building a home of made of the entire substrate. It is a little bit different. There's some different components in there, but even still, I don't know if they build it to be able to withstand what Texas can throw at it. But nobody, we don't know. It's a first-gen product.
Yeah. Cool. Do we got well over an hour? I got to run. I got to meet my assistant right now. All right, everybody. Thanks for meeting us midday. Sorry for changing the times. We're going to try to keep doing Wednesdays at 2. We'll see how that works out. If not, we'll change it up again. But thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that has supported the channel. Let me answer this real quick. How are Hayes appraisals this year compared to Travis? They all went up as well. I have 3 Hayes and they all went up. So I don't know that they're much better. But again, thank you everybody who has worked with Ian or I. Thank you for everybody that has contributed to the channel, watched the channel, supported us in any way. We'll need to do a meetup very soon. So we'll see y'all soon. Thanks, Ian.
Take care. See you.